be that slow. They have to come out hot, which is why now King Zira switches into this raise and they go for this battle in front of that B site.
Well, opening shot good for Soothers. He's able to find Kane on the opening peek through pillars. A little bit of aggression being shown early for 9Z. Opposite side of the map, though, Envy making moves over towards A, including clearing out tree early. So opportunity to get on towards site and really keep your eye on what Inspire might be able to do on the cutoff through stairs.
That's a huge insert, too. But they're already feeling it from 9Z. They had to play soft across the site, which is something that they like to do from the side of 9Z as well. They like to play these flood retakes. So Envy, if they stay on site, they still have good users to fight with. They have a seize to delay, and then their guns to work with.
Well, paint shells will come through. Spike will be planted. And now it's just down to how do you crack the code of this post plant. And it might just be by way of Inspired. He gets overwhelmed, not able to find the first shot. So now the defense has some level of entry back into the site. You block off the long rotation through the front side at A. Everything else now comes into the site itself. Right clicks are landing. Nag able to find one up top, but Ion and the rest of the crew locking things down on the low ground. Last one left alive is Soother. And, you kind of got the intention of how that finished before we got there. Envy take the pistol. Counter utility's pretty darn good. Now we've got extra weaponry on the table for Envy, and Egg will find the first shot. And I will say, and I don't think this is really maybe hit as harshly maybe as I would have figured the desk would have, but there are some times where Envy feels like you live by the egg, you die by the egg. And so far, already finding an opening shot's good news for Envy fans.
Yeah, and it already changes the playstyle a bit from Envy's side too. You're looking at the amount of utility you want to throw in as a team, but they're activating good lurks now from Inspire from that pick. But as you're going for entries, look at how the spacing goes in for Envy's side as well. So another reason why you're going in potentially with this raise. Now you have 3 agents on the side of Envy that could satchel, that could TP, and just get through sites right now to just flood into these trades. So beautifully done, and 9Z will have to expect this going on into the later rounds. Although economical damage is the name of the game for the remaining players of 9Z, and they've done quite a decent job so far. If they could drop Inspire here and also force at least some armor buys off some players, they should be in a pretty good spot for the bonus round of Envy to play against the bonus round of Envy.
Yeah, see what happens though. It looks like this is going to be one of those sacrificial moments to finish off round number 2. Inspire pretty far back, should be safe to make sure he keeps his life and more importantly keeps the weapon. So 4 will survive, and you're right. I think there is, you know, some consideration regarding the ISO versus the raise, as we've seen Envy before.
Talk about that rifle round. The bonus pretty good on Envy's side. Now they're playing rifles against now the Odin of Soother holding towards that tree. So Odin now prominently used since champs. You're starting to see here the value that Soother's trying to do with this Odin buy into tree control.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a mimic because they're actually able to get that afforded in round 3. But Soother, and this is what everyone's been talking about, it feels like the Odin has just turned into a beefier Phantom. He's able to find one, but it's still a 4v3 nonetheless. Better trades for Envy. Paint shells causing a bit of deterrence to the post plant setup over towards drop, and Taco's able to find a shot through the smoke to land on a Kane Zera. So now we've got even numbers 3v3.
Still only satchels and a flash though. At least a vulnerable could be nice, but it missed. It just tries to clear out towards heaven, so they don't have too much to flood retake with.
Little extra peek from Eggster. Doesn't find what he was looking for, so Heatgate crashes back. Time becoming a bit of an issue here for 9Z. Definitely some urgency has to come through. Poppin finds beautiful timing, earns himself the Nightfall, and immediately pops it. Taco will be hit by that. The tethers will reveal both, actually, as Klaus is traded, and everyone knows that Taco's playing on the low ground somewhere, so just use the clock as your biggest ally.
Gaps that you could try to take here for 9Z on the defense, and they're trying that right now. 3 players found on that side as they're on an eco, but now they're greeted finally by a change of pace from Envy, Wing into the C site.
Yeah, and why not? You've got lesser arsenal in front of you, but Klaus does well to catch one and stays alive for a little bit more damage and actually turns that into a second elimination. That makes this plausible in terms of how Thrifty works, but Inspire is quick on the pinch. Nag's currently watching for it. The dark cover will be, or pardon me, the dark cover, from the shadows will be used to get over to A quickly, but this is weapon collection time for 9Z.
Thing is Inspire on the insert, so he hears the rotate from Soother. He's going to hear the second one from Nags very soon. He's already pinging towards that spawn, so everybody's going to play individual places for Envy. Try to go for that big play. Hopefully here, that Ion, worst comes to worst, only has to play a 1v1.
Yeah, Inspire just needs to get the information. See if they're looking. Shoulder seen. Opening opportunity comes through, and Inspire has an opportunity to take down both. And little pop-off saying, what are you shooting at?
Is experienced Nags with the knife out trying to meet up with his teammate. So a little bit of a fumble there that allows enemy to really run away now with this first half of attack.
Well, interesting setup here. Yeah, you're going to get a quick burst out of Taco with the boom coming in towards A. Trades over at B, though, has Envy looking to try to get a spike down, but the Nightfall may delay this a touch. Nags just outside the dark cover, waiting for maybe just a little bit of extra help. And now that it's here, he's going to make his move, but Ion and Exter have done all right. Gives Poppin and Ion now a 2-on-1 versus Nags, who's seen on the jump up. Oh, you know, a rock in a hard place.
Yeah, we'll have to see into the next rifle round that they'll bring here for 9Z. So far in this eco, you're going for the rubble control, but I think that could be a good game plan moving into the next one, because they still have good util to stall towards that C site, and they still fight for good rubble control. The only thing is that your TP from Exter baits the util, he TPs away, and then it just becomes easy for them to overtake a site right after because they're still playing a 4vx on site. So I think for 9Z, they got to push somewhere else.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is interesting because you get that lurking pick onto Inspire, just jumped the gun a little bit too quickly, has a rifle moved over to the hands of Taco, but the problem is, as this post plant scales deeper into the halls behind C, 9Z have to essentially win out some gunfights up close and personal, and to be fair, Delzic's able to find 2 with the Stinger, traded away though as Ion, last surviving, gets Envy quickly to 6. But a pretty trepidatious start right now for 9Z. And you're going to get Dimensional Drift for Exter early. And honestly, that Vine doesn't really stop the ability for Exter to get a read on where this defense is going to be set up. Viper's Pick going to be used very late in the round. Showstopper to counter. Does not hit fully, though. Klaus still alive, but only for a small time. And with that, now you've got a spike plant, and 9Z are going to have a really tough time cracking through halls and waterfall at the same time.
I mean, look at Envy. They're just fighting on different angles. The waterfall fight's about to happen. Nags is at least able to open both.
And now you've got the Steel Guard now. Poppin will be affected by that. He does see Takolila, and wow, he misses the opening op shot. Nags follows up for their third. Inspire, the last one left. Able to get a tag, at least closer towards where the spike is. He finds 1v3 for Inspire, and the clutch comes through, and that's a pop-off well warranted.
Look at him, just crunch and fight for a C control.
Love this. Get a little aggressive if you're 9Z. Commit to it, though. Showstopper comes through. Now you got the fight over towards pillars, but Klaus cannot handle it. Nags gets one on the trade, but is weak. Good damage to Poppin, so the trades continue to go pinstripe in the kill feed until Suther turns the tides, and it's 9Z in a 3v2 early.
Yeah, but the thing is, they drop spike, and look at how things are going to be played. Extra's going to pick this up right away, then TP onto the A site to go for a plant. The only difference right now, though, is there's no insert from Inspired, so they are going to be very separated in this post plant, and they'll have to come down to these hero plays again.
Well, the defense will take their time on the rotation. Post plant doesn't have much in terms of tools to hold anything off outside of really just the intel gathering from this spy camp. So if you're looking at this from Envy's perspective, you're hoping you catch some intel, and really the longer this takes and the less information you see, the more you actually know this is probably going to be a hit over towards ropes.
This is the issue for 9Z. They're afraid of these inserts and these lurks, so they're walking the whole time. So much precious time lost.
Shoulder seen on Delzik. Exter tried to cause an issue. Page shells to push him back. Inspire hits the tree toggle, and how has Exter just gotten away with that? No help, no follow-up. Shot through the side, working, but it does not matter. Exter was down to critical health, and he's still able to find the final 2. Where it's like, okay, maybe there is a little bit of a skill gap at times, because we just got to trade those.
But and your shoe hurts because you wear spike shoes when you play golf.
That's true. Opening shot from Kane lands nicely over the top of Mound as we're dealing with a staggered buy situation here from 9Z. A couple of the hero rifles on the table, and I guess why not? If the pistols are landing, maybe you can turn that into more immediate rifle work, as Klaus will find at least our initial trade for 9Z. Pistol backside sight for Delzik, not gonna land, and that'll open the door for a plant.
And that's the difference here. The players that are playing solo across the map for 9Z are not winning these 1v2s, these 1v3s, are able to do these hero plays. You're seeing the difference right now, that the firepower between both Envy and 9Z. And again, I want to highlight it again. It's the experience from Nagzet, Klaus, Delzik, having experience on the tier 1 stage, international stage at that, when they were playing with crew back in 2021. And if you think about that crew, it's a crew that went pretty deep here at Champs, that lost that 18-16 banger on Bind against Chronicles Ace at some point, and that was a highlight reel. And then you would think that that experience helps here against different types of playstyles, including Envy's in this matchup. but Envy's rank play is just good enough to play against the top of the world.
That is one way of looking at it. Decision. But over the last 4 or 5 rounds, this has turned into an Envy Stomp-fest. And with full purchase coming through, it looks like 9Z is going to try to go a little bit more aggressive, but a dimensional drift will scout this out.
That's how you stop it. Now you just have to fight TDM style. Who wins it? Of course, it's the rankers.
Yep. Although Suther almost able to manage himself behind and through the toxic screen, not going to fully work out, and we've got ourselves a 3v2. Nags is close to a Nightfall, though, could help out, or pardon me, a Steel Garden, which could help out. But at the moment, you still need to find an elimination first before we can really consider it.
Oh, we get a plant too for the Showstoppers, so they are making sure here that they're guaranteeing the round as much as they can for Envy side. Showstopper immediately comes out, though.
Doesn't connect. Klaus still stays on 50 HP. 9Z trying to split the difference of how they want to try to get back in, and Nags is going to find the opener. That's enough now for the Steel Garden. Can they get out of the vicinity of it? Sure seems that way, but it's a lot of space granted and voluntarily given away to the defense trying to make their way back onto site, but it doesn't make a difference. The individual gun skill too strong. Envy way ahead in a 10-2 half to force Envy to throw some respect. So you call it properly here, Vansili. A little bit of noise, a little bit of utility thrown towards a quick rotation back in towards pillars, but look at the position from Egster already deep over towards Mound. Means that, yeah, the defense can just stack here on this cross, and Kane Zera is able to connect first. Egster follows with the following two. You boop him back with the blast pack in. It's all egg all the time. Envy looking good for the pistol.
And that's how it starts. I mean, the re was perfect from Envy's side. Make a lot of noise, stop the stall, stop the push from the A side. Season A was going to get so much, if anything. Well, hold that thought, though. Klaus is going to try to clutch a 1 versus 4 as he's moving towards that spike.
Well, try you may, but Ion's already on the close corner. No problems there.
And it allows for you to pincer back from front and back to retake that B site, and 9Z was not ready for that. So now they're going into their pistol round, staying as a 5-man stack, rushing and fighting towards Mound.
Yeah, but that's great. Egster does not initially hit the gate crash. Instead, stays a little bit longer and gets some really good information. Has the decoy out just past the traps of the Cypher. And this has just been great stall tactics. Now, all of a sudden, you've got popping on the cross through door if they commit, which it looks like they're about to. Inspire in the corner, runs out of ammunition, but Egg up top will shut it largely all down. A couple of trades from 9Z get them on site, but it's a 3v2 in favor of Envy's defense.
We'll have to talk about the little details in a second here from that Cypher play of Inspire. But here's that forward push towards that spawn, but looks like we want to decide differently. Tap the spike, bait out the shots, bait out the swings, and try to fight toe-to-toe.
Well, Ion will have to hit an outlaw shot. The Arc Rose is placed. Doesn't reveal too much. Haunt will be deleted. Now the counter. Pistol shots from Kane work out, and whoa, I think Ion thought he hit that. Doesn't make a difference. Kane is able to connect 12-2, and we are in the, well, ballpark of capital WOOF. Woof.
on trying to perform well here on the stage as their first game in Ascension. Unfortunately, it's not the case, but thankfully, it is still a 3-map series, so they have a chance to maybe turn it around on Sunset.
Yeah, this is wild. I think, again, this is the way the Death set this up. Like, this is LATAM'S #1 team out of 9Z. They really showed some consistent success across the year as well. Same can be said for Envy. A couple of stumbles maybe early on in the year that was maybe against the expectations that everyone had for the team overall, but they've shown up and shown out, and this is a statement and a half to all of those that are watching right now, not just online, but of course in person, that are waiting to possibly play this Envy team. Good patience here. 9Z with the, again, possible last purchase of this map. Need to be very cautious. Toxic screen up, and they're trying to make their move, but I don't think that Prowler sees the raise, and now all of a sudden you've got the angle, you've got the vice wall, and Envy just don't care about it. They're going to find all 3 first eliminations.
That's GG. That's 2 dogs lost here on a 5v2. There's still trips on the site. That is just unfortunate.
Sheesh.
A flawless at that.
Well, I mean, Vance, what do you say? The offense, though, going to wander their way through mid. Market. Oh, the spy cam is in such a good spot, just over the dark cover. And Delzik will pay for his crimes of not placing it fully correct. That's an opening first blood to come through. Again, the resurrection is there. The barrier orb was committed to that. Hunter's Fury called in, tags a couple, but cannot find the elimination. And things will reset to the 5v5.
Big W, though. You force up the res, you force up the heal. They don't have too much to work out right now for 9Z in terms of the support that Nagzet could bring for the team, except for these slow orbs. A couple of pings gives you information on this attempt that they're trying to do to work up towards mid again, and you're still having great delays being played by Inspire. This should be a last second hit towards the B site right now, so it's still a good read for 9Z to continue to brute force their way on that side.
Hunter's Fury is out for the offense, trying to clear out that front space over at Market, but Exter connects over to the front, and Inspire gets replaced back inside of Market, comes away with everything. Credit him, technically 4 kills on the round so far, and Klaus back towards his spawn will just sit and wait.
And that's the Hail Mary play. Just no map control. Let's just try to get some pings to answer back on the side of 9Z and brute force a way through towards Market. Just looking to go for a fight play on A side for that control. You're seeing how tucked in we are for Kane Zero. The Paranoia propped up here for Ion, so they can just go for the stun, push down, and fight. And Kane trying to go for the hero play with that. They'll heal the drone, so he's going to have to fall back for a bit. But that's not too much information taken here for the side of 9Z after that. Yeah, you're able to bait out Util and positioning. Okay, well, at least you're able to bait out Kane Zero pushing forward. Nice little pick by Soother.
Yeah, that felt like a bit of a over-anxious peak right there. And I mean, to be fair, if Kane either A, wins that battle, or B, just gets forward, it allows the defense to really invest into this B defense. But now you've got to consider 2 things at once. First and foremost, though, for this defense at B is if A can hit again. Double blast pack out. Forces the shot. Does not work. Gate crash is not set up right now. Has to avoid the slow orb and does so nicely. But Taco's already on site and deals with the Cypher. Decoy gives Egg a chance. Finds himself one that also earns a dimensional drift. Chance to maybe stall out this plant a little bit, but the barrier orb reinforces the post-plant attack. Egg is stuck into a corner, but here comes the rest of Envy from the opposite side, and Poppin saves a life. Just down to 1. It's Delzik for the 1v3. Trying to slip around the back side, but Ion reads it, deals with it, and it's 2 rounds in a row for Envy. Key moments here, though, in round 8. Different op placement initially for Kane. Peeking through mid, Dark Cover will back off the angle, and 9Z late in this round will start to make their way through mid.
Yeah, Envy are changing things a little bit more to try to go for that mid control, because so far, presence towards A, they're just holding that line, but nobody was really rushing up except for explosive rounds. So now they are actually setting up a crossfire. There's a TP there to help for the side of Exter to really try to cancel out the mid lurk that we're trying to take, and that is an overzealous peak that gets punished.
Yeah, and that's just tough because you have to challenge the Dark Cover at A. They use the Owl Drone. At the same time, they're trying to hope that Envy's focus will be on A, that they can work up mid. Not the case whatsoever. Absolutely stuffed. And now you have to kind of force the square peg into the round hole. You don't have any intel at all on A, but you got to try to make a play somewhere. And it's going to have to be here. So they're stalled. Good slow orb, but Poppin has freedom to pop the Owl Drone. Good reveal behind that. And Kane Zero will line up for the collat and then just push on forward. Nax is able to get the plant off and a little bit of damage, but there's just no way you survive through that. It will be Chuck Dart able to find the final damage needed as Envy get back onto their winning ways. See how it all unfolds. If they do get the plant down, Viper's Pit could be key. Not a guaranteed way to clear that right now. So that's something to consider.
Exactly why you want to go for a 5-man hit here for 9Z. You have a res to work out with if you want to go for a triple swing and then get that pit onto the site and just get your plant down.
Well, once this is communicated, Ion can teleport over to help. Looks like he's going to be committing for that. And yeah, he's going to go to the backside at B. Eggster, first one up defensively. Has not been able to see anything over the top of the trap. Now has an opportunity as it falls. First blood good. Second better. Now looking for more. Everyone's stuck in the corner. And it's going to be Egg for 4. Yeesh. Flawless round. And 9Z off the force buy and the timeout come up empty. Still a chance to get something done, especially with the burst potential of Taco jumping on in. Aldrone will scout out some of the defensive pressure at elbow. Not a ton. And oh, Envy look that they want to challenge this. And why not?
Easily.
Follow up. No problem. Viper's Wall, if that drops, could be dangerous. And it does. And it is. Oh, my goodness. Back-to-back flawless rounds for Envy. And we're tied at 5.
but they are giving up so much space as we go.
But this is kind of identified as what the first 4 rounds looked like. The dark cover one way not working out for Kane Zera. But look at the follow-up Ion, so bold. Does force the early res. Oh, and then the blind shot just predicting through the dark cover lands. Delzik loses his life. Aldron will scout a little bit of this out, but Ion is still in position. And he's able to hit another. Does he get more? Opportunity for us. The page shells will force him back, and that will be how Taco gets not just 1, but 2. And all of a sudden, numbers back into the arms of 9Z.
And thankfully, Taco's there to really calm down that round. The wall, they're going to plant for a spawn. He's going to get an ult out of it, too.
And there, whoa, no fly zone. Inspire shuts down the showstopper. Gate crash set. Nags is seen on the cross. Flash lands. Envy clears out the tight corner. Now has to go over towards elbow. They're going to swing it. First shot good. But Eggster responds to the 1v1. Dimensional drift comes through. And he's trying to dance with it. And it's just more Yoru antics for the Egg. A huge bounce back. Credit Ion initially, but Egg for the finish. Necessarily fully been there for him, not just in map number 1, but of course you're seeing it kind of unfold here on Sunset. 9Z, first 2 kills, 2 clean, and Envy just trying to force their way through mid. Klaus is going to find a third. That's got good enough to get a Hunter's Fury. Not that he's going to really need it in this round, you'd think. Nags is still watching over through mid. Inspire does shut down Klaus, so you do pick the right site to go to, but Nags connects, and he gets to read that Inspire is also in the vicinity.
I think the smoke kind of missed on that top right side. Klaus just jumped on top of the ledge and probably got an easy one-way and just sprayed down those 3 players trying to pinch through towards Boba. So Envy trying to go for some fast action. And once again, it didn't work out.
Plant the spike.
This would be magical. Especially considering that he's picked what was essentially a one-done corner. Unless you get some sort of a lineup. You hear the footsteps just kind of teetering on the top of this B-Raptor. There's the first, there's the second. Stop it. 1v1 with Nags, who only has the op. No weapon to collect immediately. But Inspire is low on ammunition. But Nags is just going to run away? What? Unbelievable. Inspire's going to pull off a technical 1v3 as Nags decides to save the op when they could send offshore bank accounts to Bermuda if they wanted to.
This is what this is the scoreline that we're currently seeing here for 9Z. But look at this triple push on tiles.
This is 9Z building some confidence. Able to find 1. That's not the worst news ever. It does kind of force a commitment here, though, for Envy. And actually, they're going to hold off and see if Poppin can kind of try to pinch this from the offensive spawn. Doesn't work out. But he will read that there is no immediate threat working through elbow, so the spike will make its way towards A and likely look to get dropped in.
Poppin's running all the way back towards B to go for the big flank. So if you could actually delay here on the side of Kane, this will be big for Poppin to flank with.
And he's got a Hunter's Fury if he does clean up the backside of the site. Just comes down to can they win these first 1v1s up close and personal. You see Kane with a Bucky on the corner. Inspire finds the first. Suther knows that there's trouble nearby. But do they know how quickly Poppin is on his way over? At elbow, though, a new front on the war has been established. Inspire finds a second. Kane! Oh! He gets a little 1v2 through elbow. And Envy somehow, some way, able to work through the magic of a force buy. And as I think 9Z is starting to feel a little bit of pressure all of a sudden, knowing if they drop one, things can get out of hand pretty darn quickly. Here's the dimensional drift to feel out the B site. The XQ quick to follow.
Nowhere to run.
Yeah, they're trying to use a Hunter's Fury with it. He's not going to continue to follow because it's at the end of the timer of the dimensional drift. But that's full site taken now.
Oh, and Inspire cuts the action through Market. Kane pushes forward to scale deeper to the backside of B. And honestly, if you're 9Z, you just don't have a route here. And Ion's going to make matters worse by playing a little bit further forward, but Klaus shuts it down. You can just tell by Delzik's position that unless a couple of kills comes through, this is likely going to be some sort of a save. And that is what we're looking at. So Envy very quickly get to 9. And it does feel like a bit of like a stagger right there from 9Z, where they just kind of get pushed back and all of a sudden they kind of feel like they're on their heels a little bit.
Well, this is where we have to commend how Envy looks really good macro-wise as well. Roy was mentioning strong legs at the desk, how good they are mechanically in the micro, but there was a great plan for Envy to take over that B site. As you break the door and you go with the dimensional drift, it clears out the market. You smoke up at the top, the mid at the same time. What that does right now is allows Inspire to, now you're being proactive with utility. You're trying to find that spacing that they're trying to take for Envy side first, and now you adapt.
So say good counterintelligence here for Klaus, but Envy still trying to push through that. Trade comes out. The big question mark is what can you get from Taco, and he gets shut down before you can pull the showstopper fully out. Suther holding on the market. Good reveal, good vulnerability for a moment. But again, here is that little pinch set up once again, and Ion wraps behind the play for 2. Delzik inserts himself to trade. This would be a 1v3, but the spike will quickly rotate to A for the free plant.
What a play. Exer was trying to move through. I felt like he was trying to pick up the spike and TP out because they hit the door at the same time. So they wouldn't get sprayed here by Suther, but there was a little bit of a bump chest going through. Delzik, though, got information on both players, but he is now also spotted by the cam.
First 1v1 is a critical one. Instead, trust that the dark cover will give him some peek in towards the site. The second one is set up for a potential defuse. Delzik trying to find timing outside the dark cover. Does not initially see the Cypher, but then turns back to it. To the 1v1 now with Eggster. How do you play this? Delzik pops out, but Eggster responds, and Envy's cooking. 10-11, down 1.
Oof. And then Envy instead now, this time they're slowing the pace down. And then when they slow down the pace, well, 9Z gets caught.
This is bold. I mean, you know that you're dealing with 9Z on limited economy, but the from the shadows into the backside of B instantly throws 9Z into tatters, and there's Ion revealing the play. Taco gets overwhelmed. And I don't know, well, I think we all kind of know, like, where was this Envy in the first half? I think there's a little bit of, like, we're better, like, you know, page 1 of the playbook, hold W kind of mentality, but they've reformed, they've restructured, and in the last 6 rounds, Envy has really taken over. Wow. Reds is available, Klaus close to 100 straight, but they're not gonna have a chance to respond to it, or will they? We've got a little bit of a meeting of the minds here, front side at B, and it will result in a 4v4. But look how quickly Inspire's already made his way back up towards mid. Spy cam for the defense trying to scout him out, but Inspire holds back, so he can still use this position a bit covertly if Envy want to rotate back, which it looks like they do.
I like that we're keeping an insert too, though, because you see that Nagzed has this res to work with. So Ion is staying towards B main, or he cuts rotates, or he tries to play a 1v1 when you're trying to res towards B main. But now it becomes a 2 versus 2 on the A site because of that. Envy has an opportunity to open up the A site and to have 2 individual lurks right after in the post plant.
Or is this just a play for the dimensional drift, though? Orb collected. Egg is going to be able to find 1 and then immediately get out of the dimensional drift. I think they're thinking they can isolate this Viper, anticipating that they're the only one on the site. That's not the case. And Egg will also lose his life. So 9Z, numbers advantage. And they've got Envy scattered around the map with a very late last-second rotation back to B on the way.
Swung a little bit too wide before he shot there, so kind of gave his tell on the angle being held by Nagzed. So that gives a chance now for Inspire to retreat and play with his team. We just talked about the double inserts. Poppy was making so much noise on the rotate to try to get that 1v1 forced out of 9Z. Now everybody has to stay out towards the spawn because they have to respect where Ions could be lurking.
Yep. Poppin, trying to kill some time. Nobody home yet, though, past this dark cover. Spam just to make sure of it. A little bit of counteraction now on the way as 9Z will stack. Paranoia being held. And Poppin's going to find 1 through the dark cover, deletes the recon before it even pings. Oh my goodness, 9Z are held back.
You gotta save.
They're trying to make a last-second rotation, possibly through market, but you've got to go like you're talking about, Vans. Otherwise, you're just forfeiting the round, and they're going to save? We're hitting the res to try to save this? Are we crazy? Envy's going to get to 12.
I respect it. You're resing to try to get econ value into the next round because your economy's in shambles right now for the side of 9Z. Oh, Taco's gonna be angry.
Yep, he's mad. So now you've got mid wide open. Defense trying to collect some space. Fast lane will keep the A defender at least somewhat busy, and actually the Paranoia gets baited by a decoy. Oh no, 9Z have fallen a bit apart. Poppin trying to use the Hunter's Fury over through market, does not really do too much, and now you go back to Kane to see if you can use this as a pivot point.
30 seconds
oh my gosh, and now you're counter flanking again on Boba.
Well, there's the kills for 9Z. Poppin still keeps the play alive, and Kane will connect. Klaus up top, denied as Kane connects once more. Just down to Delzy. He's gonna find the first. 1v2 now. And this is the next difficult moment. Where is Envy? And he's got to go quickly. And now we're spending a lot of ammunition. Does he clear this corner behind the small box? He does. Finds the 1v1. Now with Poppin. Dark cover will block the angle. There's the toggle. Shock dart not going to land. Poppin has one more to spend. Does he get caught with the bow? No, it's a recon bolt first. Now you've got a shock dart, and that will be how Envy do it. What a comeback effort. It looked sloppy at the beginning. You take a timeout. You say, all right, let's just kick the brakes a little bit.